Anthony Burchak, welcome back to the podcast.
What's going on?
Round 2.
Yeah.
Second year. Dude, it feels different this year. I was so brand new when I walked in these doors last time.
I remember, dude. You were green.
Yeah. I didn't know anything, and now, of course, I've been to just dozens, like all over the place.
Well, I've watched your growth, and I think we got to roll in, and like I'm able to see now what you look for and what you're doing, and it's obviously showing a level of competency in doing your jiu-jitsu now, right?
You can see the growth in a person every day they come here, and it's I enjoy teaching. Jiu-jitsu is so dynamic, diverse. It's something that people don't know when they come here what they're getting into, and to be able to show them, just something simple like a hip escape, shrimping. You feel so accomplished when you watch them do it, and it gives you a reward that some other teaching doesn't give you.
When you're learning from white belt to blue belt, you're learning so fast. You're experiencing all sorts of growth. You start to play at blue belt, and like that tangible growth, it's at a slower pace.
There's that level of like that I think a lot of people go through, and I know that I did, is that like tiny bit of insecurity too when you get that new belt and you get your blue belt or you get your purple belt and you go, I don't even think I really should have this. And then you get your purple and you're like, fuck, I don't think I should be a purple belt. And then I don't know if that ever disappears, but at the end of the day, you gotta realize that everyone's time is their time, and if you've gotten it, you deserve it.
What I have noticed is that even if I know what I'm doing, I feel like the weight difference in terms of self-defense doesn't happen at that point.
I don't roll with a ton of bigger people because like there's a really like it's so hard to fucking do jujitsu on someone who's bigger and also knows jujitsu. Jujitsu works until fucking the other person knows any bit of proficiency grappling.
That's interesting. I don't have the same body type as most people I've learned from. And so as you go about that, you always have to adapt what you're doing for your body type.
Yes.
Because not everything's going to work the same for everybody.
Oh yeah. The first few years, you're trying to find where you fit in. What's your niche in jiu-jitsu? I started when I was 43. Not only did I have I'm new to jiu-jitsu stuff, I had to realize that I'm older than most of the people training. So it took me until maybe I was a purple belt till I figured out this is the way I have to do this.
So we also had in town here our bullpen submission series, which was a lot of fun. And we got to run the stream for that. You can go to Bullpen Submission Series YouTube channel that we set up. You can watch the live stream. It was just a great event.
Oh yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
He's in mount here. The other guy's trying to flip over and get his legs in front of him to escape.
We don't have too many.
Escape.
We don't have too many guys who can do that at the gym. I wonder if Vinny was able to practice that. So he's in trouble right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a deep straight ankle lock.
Yeah, not many guys can escape the mount like that. It's a good escape.
Yeah, very impressive. To have that durability and flexibility as a big guy. That's a big young man right there.
I really thought Vinny's feet would be in trouble here. He's doing a good job at conditioning out.
Oh, nice cartwheel pass. Look at that,
good.
some flashy shit from the big boys.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, another good pass straight into north-south. Fantastic.
You go in a competition and you got 1 5-minute match, and that adrenaline dump. Your forearms, my forearms, even like not if you do gi, it's even worse. But grips that, man, it's just like so intense. And then you've got like 4 days afterwards where you're just fucked. You're just in bits. Like it's so different from the gym.
It's a different kind of endurance. I mean, it's like
you have all of the brain chemical done, so you're using everything. You're like I don't know. Afterwards, I had that same thing where I like can't open my fucking hands. Like
It sounds pretty rough. I haven't engaged with the competition side of this yet.
If you're doing jiu-jitsu as a hobby and you are not trying to be a world champion, like myself really, I don't think you need to do it all the time. But I think it's really important and useful to do it once, because you really learn a lot.
In the gym, you're like, I'm going to play out of this. I'm going to fucking ballerina toe my shit, like whatever. I'm going to work whatever defense I have, but like in competition, you know that if you're unsuccessful with that, you should tap. Like I really don't finish people in the gym because I don't want to hurt them.
Right. Everybody comes into it for different reasons and gets a different thing out of it, but the main thing is do something that is incredibly hard for you. I guarantee jiu-jitsu, grappling, wrestling is incredibly hard for anybody because mentally and physically it just breaks you. But whatever that thing is that you're avoiding that would be incredibly hard for you to do, if you go do it, you will be a different person on the
The
other side.
obstacle is the path.
Yeah,
The interest comes from like still increased progression.
right.
Like you have to still tickle that interest, and that's where like I don't know. I know how many people like purple belts from our gym don't really show up anymore.
But it entirely
Yeah.
depends on the mindset you have when you come into this sport. Like, I think you have to understand what it is you're walking into before you get into it. So at least that's what helped me, because I knew walking in, like, oh, I'm going to have my ass handed to me, and this is a long, long process, and either it's going to be part of my life or not. As long as you make it like a binary decision for yourself, you can't do that if you don't have the information. Is this for me? Is this not for me? Can I handle recognizing that it's going to have its ups and downs?
Well, can you handle sucking at something?
And can you handle
That's
sucking?
like a big
So
part
many
of
people
it.
can't handle
so
it at
many
all.
like, and I think that's probably what speaks to the stereotypical blue belt that quits is someone who shows up and excels at something, gets to a kind of a higher level at something, and then is
I wonder-
uncomfortable sucking.
I started teaching when I was in the military, and I always like to be challenged by difficult subjects. So that's why jiu-jitsu is so cool to teach, is because it's not easy. Something that we did in a role that you did to me, and I'm like, hold on a second. I got to figure this out. And so I show up the next day and try to figure it out. It's so cool to me, but I want to learn more. It's probably one of the tougher things in people will do in their life. And that's why so many people get to a certain level and just leave.
If you're literally just taking one jiu-jitsu class a week, you learned something that day that you didn't know the day before, and you perfected something that day that you didn't have down the day before. And it's just small incremental growth. Is it going to take a lot longer? Yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah.
it's slow growth is better than no growth.
Even if you come one day a week, like I've seen the point made, like that's 52 times this year that you will have gone to jiu-jitsu. That's 52 times versus someone who went 0 times. It's still going to be a difference.
And then if you think about like the old cliche things, right? It's like I'm getting 1% better every day.
Even if I don't have a partner that day and I just get to watch, I'm
Yeah.
still picking up a ton. When there's new guys, like always send me the new guy. It's so
Oh, yeah.
much fun for me to help somebody and show them.
And I appreciate that. I mean, that you stepping up to say, yeah, I'll help this guy. Because that's hard to do.
I've always felt the initial thing with jiu-jitsu is the fastest growth you'll have, because you get to go from 0 to something. Well, a year is a big difference when it comes to jiu-jitsu if you've been training, which we have been. And so now I get to have that experience. It's been really, really cool. Everybody here has been great. I've been coming to the evening classes, which is a little more packed. I wasn't doing that last year, but now, of course, Andrea's training with me, so we're hitting up fundamentals.
That's dope, man. I like seeing you guys literally go from fundamentals and come right into advanced.
Yeah, self-defense is super important to me,
Yeah.
and there's no way I want her going about the world to have to experience some trauma because she's not aware of something.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I started doing jiu-jitsu, I just brought enough home that it was like, if someone were to grab you like this, here's what you can do. And that was the start of it. And then slowly, as she watched me continue to progress, and mostly because I dragged her to podcasts like this and dragged her to classes to film me and stuff, and she was like, all right, you know what, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I was kind of nervous here in Tucson. I love 10th Planet Tucson, but I recognize it's a pretty competitive
Yes.
school.
Yeah.
We have some absolute beasts who are here to become good at competing. And so I didn't know how she'd fit in with the women here and with that culture. And she's made just great friends here. I mean, everybody's so welcoming.
Yeah, that's so important. It shows the class of the school is that you can come here, and jiu-jitsu itself is by nature is very violent and active, and the people are going to take care of you. They know, and they're very helpful to you.
It takes a lot of guts and courage to even walk into a
Hell yeah, it
jiu-jitsu
does.
gym. It takes even more to come in here and get your ass handed to you every single day.
I think that's why there's so much almost instant respect and friendship that I've found in these gyms all
Yeah,
over the country.
of
because
course.
the big thing is you showed up.
Jiu-jitsu is hard to teach people because it involves things that most people will never do in their life. Whatever you want to say, being on your back with another human being trying to submit you is not the easiest thing in
You
the
can
world.
go simpler than that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can take any group of 10 random people out on the street right now and tell them, be on your feet and then do a somersault and then get back to your feet.
Yes.
And they won't be able to do
Nope.
it.
Everyone who hasn't done any sort of combat sports or anything like where they're like, oh, I know how to fight. I'm gonna take care of
Oh,
myself,
such a big
whatever.
call.
And
Yeah,
it's
they're
like,
so sure. They're
yeah,
so
it's like, yo, dude, like, no, you couldn't. Even showing up to fucking kickboxing classes, where you're like, oh wow, like,
Yeah.
I don't know where these hands come from and why I'm getting punched in the face, and like you just don't understand what you're capable of.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Among the many things jiu-jitsu can help an individual achieve It takes you off the sideline in a major way in your life, and you are in the fight.
Oh, yeah.
And you learn how to have, I think, more compassion for other people because you know what it's like to fight.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
It changes you. So what's next then for you?
Man,
What do you want to suck at next?
I want to suck at being a promoter. We just did our first ever ticketed event, a jiu-jitsu event. My wife owns Bullpen Submission Series. Tyler helped us out with the YouTube broadcast and stuff like that. But it was very clear to me that I should be either a competitor or a promoter on one night, but definitely not both on the same night. I was still trying to give a rules meeting in the back while I'm a competitor. I should have let, just Al and Mike talk, but they're like, well, what do you want to do? Well, this is how I want this to go, you know what I mean, as a competitor, which also looks kind of weird that I'm still the head ref for Bullpen, but I'm competing. But I'm still trying to make sure that my standards for what the matches look like are being adhered to. That show gave me so much optimism and like just pure child excitement that we could blow the fucking doors off the next show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this show went great. Like, the aesthetics of it were amazing. The matches were amazing. The athlete roster that we had that was on the card was amazing. We had myself, Adrian Nez, Issa Abel, Austin Baker, Gabriel De Los Santos, Oscar De Los Santos, and Jimmy House, and then Cody Elmer. Those are 8 guys that have all competed at the highest level. We have 6 of us that have been on UFC Fight Pass for either Submission Underground or Combat Jiu-Jitsu or EBI. For us to have that level of talent on our first ever show, because we've built something over 6 years now that we have a relationship with all these athletes, it shows that the talent that we've groomed coming up through Bullpen is huge, and it's being able to happen on a multiple of levels. Just seeing that excites me of like, well, how can we make that next card that much better?
Yeah.
If you placed bets, you fucked up. Like,
Yeah. And you
There
can
was
still
some
go watch
crazy
it,
shit.
by the way. It's on Bullpen Submission Series YouTube channel. You can go subscribe, and you can watch the entire thing still. It's all up.
Yeah.
And you'll see what we're talking about. Anything else before we go? You already said where people can find you on Instagram.
Yeah, listen, if you're going to try to find me on Instagram, you have to type my whole name out. ABIRCHAKMMA. And I won't show up until you hit either that last M or the A. But on Facebook, Anthony Burchak is my athlete page. 10P Tucson. If you guys are ever in Tucson, I have open doors for everybody. If you want to just get fit, if you want to understand how to defend yourself and your loved ones, we do it all. We're literally 3 miles away from the University of Arizona, right here in the Central City. So again, we're waiting for you.